Welcome to the Sarah Finkelstein Show, where the next 10 minutes can change your life. Also on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio. Here's Sarah.
Today's segment deals with how to avoid retirement nightmares. Now, having been in the financial and insurance industry for over 25 years, I have heard a host of retirement financial nightmares. And I'm going to talk about some of those today. But first of all, I'd like to begin with how things have changed over the years. In the 70s and 80s, it was very common for Americans to have a defined benefit plan as part of their retirement. So they had Social Security, which is guaranteed for the rest of your life, and they had a defined benefit plan where they had a certain dollar amount that they expected each and every month for the rest of their life in retirement. Many people do not have a defined benefit plan anymore. What do they have? They have a 401k plan, which does not guarantee income in retirement. You could take money out of your 401k. The values of your 401k fluctuates, but it does not provide a guaranteed lifetime income stream. So that's one of the challenges that retirees face is they do have Social Security, which is great. For most people, Social Security provides about 30 to 50% of their retirement income needs, but that's not enough. It's only one leg of the so-called three-legged retirement stool. And if you've never heard that phrase, that refers to the three legs are, again, Social Security, your qualified retirement plan, and your own personal savings plan. Those are the three legs of the three-legged retirement stool. What happens to a three-legged stool when one leg is gone? It falls over, right? Which is what happens to people who do not have a defined benefit plan. So the nightmares are many. Number one, not realizing how much money you may need in your retirement. A lot of people underestimate how much they will need in retirement. Also, they don't account for inflation because inflation erodes our purchasing power. What $1 bought in the year 2000, it will not buy today. And inflation currently is extremely high. So we know if we utilize the rule of 72 and inflation is 10%, we know that in just 7 years, we're going to need twice as much money just to maintain our standard of living. So the nightmare is not planning for inflation, not planning to have another guaranteed source of income besides your Social Security. Another huge nightmare is not planning for the needs in your retirements, your extended health care needs. Yes, the dirty word, long-term care. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to think about it. But if you don't think about it and if you don't plan for it, it could wipe out your whole retirement nest egg. It is so important to plan for long-term care because the statistics are 70% of people over the age of 65 will need long-term care at some point. Now, granted, some of them might only need it for a short period of time, but then others might need it for years, like 5, 10, or even 15 years. It's a nightmare when you or your loved one needs long-term care and you have to spend out your retirement nest egg to pay for it. And then what do you do for your retirement needs? It is a nightmare. There's so many risks at hand when you enter your retirement years. Here's another big mistake that people make: having all of your money in the market. Now, I realize there's tremendous upside potential in the market. Yes, it's true. But there's also the downside. And if you're not prepared to lose a big chunk of your money, because that's what can happen in the market in your retirement years. The flip side of that is being overly conservative and having all of your money sitting in the local bank where it is not growing. And if your money's not growing, it is not keeping up with inflation, right? So I want to take a moment. Thank you, TRC Voiceovers. Thank you, Tony, for the fine work that you have done for the Sarah Finkelstein Show. So now let's talk about some possible solutions. Number one, think about inflation and the effects of inflation and how you will combat inflation, because inflation again will erode your purchasing power, meaning you're going to need a whole lot more dollars to buy the same basket of goods. Here's an idea for you. Say a few years before you plan to retire, you put yourself on a spending diet. You practice frugality. Spend a little bit less and save a little bit more. Get into the habit of living on a little bit less. You know what I find is during our working years, many of us, we get used to a certain income level, and we know, we feel our income is going to be there tomorrow, next month, next year. So we spend freely, we enjoy life, right? But it's so important that we save a portion of our income during our working years so that we treat it as a bill. Think of it like a bill. Like when you have your 401k contributions, it comes automatically out of your paycheck. And you're planning for your retirement years by a forced savings plan into a retirement plan. So try that. Put yourself on a spending diet. We know that we need more than one source of guaranteed income in retirement. So we do have the Social Security, of course, for the rest of your life, which is nice. But besides that, maybe it's a good idea to get yourself an income annuity, which will provide you income guaranteed for the rest of your life. So now you have two sources of guaranteed income. Another idea that you may want to consider is maybe work a few more years. Maybe you're planning to retire at 65. How much of a difference would it make to your overall financial picture if you worked another 2 or 3 years? Would it not improve your overall situation? Not only would you be saving more money for your future, but you would not start taking money out sooner. You would take it out later. So you'd have more money to work with. Or if you don't want to work full time for another 2 or 3 or 5 years, how about working part-time? That way you have some more spending income, and everybody can use spending income. So a few extra dollars in your pocket never hurts, right? Also, what I strongly recommend is that you have a conversation with your loved ones, your family, your relatives, about what is your long-term care plan for yourself and your spouse. These are the conversations that most families do not want to have, but they are so important that we must have them. Again, remember, 70% of people over 65 will need long-term care. So those are just a few ideas that might benefit you in terms of your retirement plan. Oh, and one more idea is a reverse mortgage. Now, if you have a good amount of equity in your home, you may be able to do a reverse mortgage that gives you income while you're living in your home, and you don't have to pay it back until you sell the home. So that's another idea for a source of income in your retirement years. By the way, I help individuals with Medicare, helping those individuals understand Medicare, their choices and options, and help them to save money on Medicare. And the website is www.yourmedicarelady.com. We also do a show, which is called The Sarah Finkelstein Show, just as you are here today. So this is a sample of the show. And you can go to our website, which is www.signatureadvisorygroup.com. And you can register there for more segments of the show. And of course, if you have any questions or would like a second opinion on what you're doing with your financial plan for your future, I'm here to help, and I'd love to hear from you. There's no cost, and of course, there's no obligation.
Knowledge is power, but only when you implement what you've learned to your own benefit. Tune in next time for even more powerful tips on The Sarah Finkelstein Show.